right, guys, it's D to the J with the roll away here with you right now. I'm on Facebook Live, and what I'm going to do for you guys today is a beef stroganoff from scratch. I've got my skillet heating up to 350. I'm going to try to do all this in one fell swoop because there's several steps to it. So what I've done is I've slid my skillet back, and so you guys can see everything. I'm going to turn my camera around, make sure we get a good shot of the skillet here. Okay, hold on. Let me get everybody in view first of all. Trying to figure out where we're at. All right, and I'll answer the comments as I get to them, as I can, because I'm gonna be turning stuff around and moving. All right, so my skillet's nice and heated. I'm gonna let my onion turn brown. All right. Okay. Now this is one medium onion, and I basically want this to become kind of caramelized a little bit. Now I've never done this recipe on camera before, so just bear with me as we go. This is a new skillet that I'm using. It's a Copper Chef, and it's really good. So, okay, what I'm gonna do, you can see the onion will start to turn brown kind of fast. Not gonna add my seasonings in until we're just about ready. Like I said, this recipe has a lot. This recipe has a lot to it. It's a beef stroganoff from scratch. So I started off. I diced up one medium onion, took out the core, peeled it, and diced it. Okay. Once it gets nice and clear where we want it, or nice and translucent, as I like to say, sorry guys, don't mean to be moving stuff around so much. Making sure that you guys can see. Alright, now my onion is just about where I want it to be, and I'm going to let this, I'm basically letting the onion sweat right now. This is what they talk about when they say let the onion sweat. Okay? So now I'm going to go ahead and get my ground beef, and I use basically 2.5 to 3 pounds of ground beef. There it is right there. And I do this because I like to make leftovers with this. And I use fresh ground beef in this. That is important. Do not use frozen because, in my opinion, the frozen don't do as well as the fresh does. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to keep basically working this down until it's all mashed up and mashed around into little bitty, lovely, strenuous little pieces. Glad everybody can tune in. What's going on here? Come on. Alright, I'm going to back up a little bit. hold it that way right there. All right. Now, once the beef is all done, which will take about 10 or 15 minutes, I'm gonna, while my beef is cooking, I'm gonna start on my other part of the stroganoff that I need to do. Alright, so I'm going to push this aside, and I'm going to go ahead and get the lid and get a lid on this so this ground beef can finish cooking. And then we'll get to the second part of this. Alright, so this will basically steam. Alright, now what I have here is just a normal bowl, okay? In this bowl, I'm going to add better than bouillon. Okay, this is basically effective beef stock in its purest form. Okay, so what I'm going to do is open this up, and I'm going to add about 4 to 6 tablespoons of this. To about 3 cups of warm water. Again, this is beef flavored better than bouillon. It is very, very concentrated. Now I'm going to do about 1 more. Of this. Put that back in the fridge, please. And I want to get all of this off of the spoon that I can. I'll get you to take this as well. I need a whisk. Okay, and I just added about 3 cups of water to this. Okay. What I'm going to do is just whisk this around till it gets all incorporated. make sure that it's fully incorporated all the way around. Okay. Again, that's about 2.5, 3 cups of water. Yeah, it's really good to use actually, so it's a bunch of good stuff. Yep, dissolved. It's all dissolved now, so I'm going to go ahead and take this off. Marshall, can I get you to take this? Move that. Move the Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to my beef here. Now I'm not going to drain this. Going to give this one final toss because we've still got just a little bit of red in here. So I've got about another 3 or 4 minutes on the beef and we're just about done. The onion's all nice and soft. Scrape that down. Move this all around. Okay. Now while this is cooking, I'm going to add, hey Shayna, I'm going to add, hey Josie, how are you? I'm going to add about 3 tablespoons of flour. Okay, so we'll get our little bowl out of the way, get our lid out of the way, and we'll get 3 tablespoons of flour. Okay, and what we want to do is the reason we want to do that is because we're going to thicken this sauce up, but we're not going to add the sauce to the stroganoff until we're just about ready to combine everything together. Okay, so this whole dish takes about 25 to 30 minutes to basically finish everything. Okay, so the beef is just about there. And again, you don't want to drain this. You want all the grease and the onion to be well incorporated. Okay. All right, there's one. Two. That's actually about 2.5. And 3. All right. Now I'm gonna mix this around, and this is what's called a roux. Okay, because all of this is gonna get, again, well incorporated into everything that I'm doing. All right, now, before I start with anything else, I'm going to go ahead and add one of my seasonings in right now. Okay? I'm going to open this up. And I'm going to add one little tiny bay leaf. Go ahead and drop the bay leaf in there and let that do its thing. Now you'll want to take that bay leaf out, not to be confused with the Pokemon. Okay, but you want to mix everything around. Alright. Okay. Okay, everything's been mixed now. Because actually, that's going to help create a sauce to answer that question. That's a great question. When you're doing beef stroganoff, you want that grease in there or flavor. If you wish to drain it, you can. Okay. And that goes. And that goes right there. Okay, you have just a little bit of the leftover residual. Okay, now we want to bring this to a boil. Okay. And let this thicken up. Okay, so this right here is all in there with your bay leaf. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and add everything else that I need to add. I'm going to add about, I would say roughly about 3 tablespoons of tarragon. A little bit goes a long way. Okay. And I'll add another 2 after we're all finished, because the tarragon is what brings out the flavor of the stroganoff. A little salt. A little garlic salt. And just a little bit of freshly ground black pepper. Okay. Okay, so now that this is at a boil, what I'm going to do is I'm going to... Can you move the lid, please? I'm going to bring this forward. I'm going to bring this down to a simmer now that this is at a boil. This is already starting to thicken very nicely. Man, I wish you guys could smell this. Alright. Gonna grab my sour cream and my regular cream. All right, now, the question that I get a lot is how much sour cream do I use and how much regular cream do I use? Well, that honestly depends on the consistency that you're looking for. And I definitely go by, I want it to be a little bit runny, but I don't want it to be so runny that it jumps off the end of the spoon. Now, I'm going to, that's about maybe 1 tablespoon right there. And I've been doing things in threes. That's about 3 right there. I'm going to use just a tad bit more than that. So altogether, maybe about 1/3 of a cup of sour cream. Okay. All right, here you go. Okay. I'm again going to go ahead and just mix this around. Now, once I combine everything again, and this gets well incorporated in here, I'm going to add just a bit more tarragon, and I'm going to bring it back up to a boil. Okay, so there's that. Add just about maybe 1/2 cup. Eyeball it of sour cream. That's about 1/2 cup right there. That's about as thick and as thin as I want it right there. Now, the third part of this dish, which Marshall is doing right now, Marshall's going to boil some water, and he's going to do a package of egg noodles. I usually get the bigger pack because I do beef stroganoff traditionally over egg noodles. So that's all we need with the cream right now. We can put the cream back in the fridge. And now that I've stirred everything around, I'm going to bring this back up to a boil. Right around 350. Get a nice boil on this. And I will let this boil for about 5 more minutes. So I'm going to put the lid on it. And when I come back, what I'm going to do is I'm going to serve this for you over a plate of, again, egg noodles. Very easy to do. Okay, so that'll boil for about 5 minutes. And we'll what do I mean a half? I basically use, okay, half and half cream. If they don't have, like, if I don't use heavy cream, I'll use half and half. Or if I'll use light cream if they don't have heavy. So you can also use half and half. That's another way to look at that. So hopefully that answers that question. When you come back, I'm going to show you how to serve this. I'm going to let that boil for about 5 minutes. Yeah, those are good too. Those are the ones that I'm actually using. They're pretty easy. They take about 8 minutes in about 10 cups of water. So we'll show you this when it's done, guys, and I'll plate it up for you. So we'll be back in a little bit on Cooking with Carter, worth the wait. All right, guys, we're back. Sorry it took me so long. Had to get a couple things out of the way before I could do this. Let me just turn the camera around, show you how we're going to plate this up. Okay, so again, this is the finished sauce. Okay, now what I have over here is I have a bowl of egg noodles that are just basically done. Okay, so I'm going to plate both of these so you can see I got an empty bowl here. Okay, what I like to do is get a couple spoons of egg noodles here. And one more. And this will be my dinner, so. All right, there we go. Get the noodles out of the way. Okay, now what I'm going to do, so you guys can see, I'm just going to get my lovely beef stroganoff concoction here. And ladle about 3 or 4 of these down over the noodles so that it's nice and coated. All right. Okay. You can see how that looks. That's all finished up. Now I'm going to turn the camera around so you guys can see me take a bite. And doing well, Michael. Thank you for asking. Just made some homemade beef stroganoff and getting ready to take a bite on camera here. So we'll stir this around a little bit. Now, what I like to do to finish this off, I'm going to grab me some Parmesan cheese. And we'll go back for just a second so you can see that for a minute. Here we go. It's all right. There's what it looks like in the bowl. Break the Parmesan cheese up. Okay, that's the wrong side. There you go. Homemade beef stroganoff from start to finish. Pulled my inner Popeye there. Start to spinach. Okay, we'll mix that around. Okay. All right. Man, that tarragon, sour cream, and half really make a difference. So go check it out. Hope you like it. Thank you for tuning in and watching this with me. Share it. If you got any questions, feel free to email me, CarterDJ85 at gmail.com, or the Sports Minion Radio Show at yahoo.com. I also take questions there. So everybody have a good one. If you can't be good, be bad, but be good at it. This is D to the J with a roll away. Saying we'll see you next time on Cooking with DJ Carter Worth the Wait. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.